building. So Brian Mbeumo to Man United cooking. The manager himself is abandoning ship, if I should say. But then, what are your views? Let me start off with Murphy. What are your views on Thomas Frank moving to Spurs? Do you think his philosophy resonates?
To be frank,
that's a good one.
I get back
the bars be serious. The fire start already.
Okay, so to be frank, let me wax biblical a bit. There aren't a lot of reasons to doubt Thomas.
That's a good one again.
Okay, so I say this on the backdrop of his career trajectory since he entered into British football. Here's a man who walked into Brentford when they were way back in the Championship in the 2016-2017 campaign as an assistant to Dean Ashton, who would eventually join Aston Villa. So 1 year after he joined Brentford as an assistant, he was elevated to become the main man at the helm of affairs. First season, it didn't go too well. I think he finished somewhere mid-11th, 12th, somewhere in the Championship. The next season, when he took full control of the team, he brought them to the Championship playoff finals. I remember that game very well. They lost to Fulham. I think it was in extra time.
Yeah.
They lost 2-1.
Yeah.
Then he came and he was the third time lucky, winning the subsequent one, also in the playoff final. So when he eventually brought the team into the league, like a low budget club, many were expecting that they would go back to the abyss where they came from. He comes the first season and he placed somewhere 13th. It was in the second season that I started paying attention to him because he gave that Badford, who Charlie has sunk United so deep. He gave him a beating of his life, 4-0. I remember that game so well, Brentford versus United, when De Gea and Co were trying to play from the back.
I think that was early in the season.
Yeah, very early in the season. In that season, he took them to their highest ever position in the league, placing 9th. It was in the third season that the storms came, but that was because his talisman was given, I think, about 8 months ban. Ivan Toney, how many months? I think 8, 9 months.
Yeah. It was about 9 months. Yeah.
I was thinking if there was any season they were going to go back to the Championship, it should have been that season. Then that followed with this season. One, they had placed their lowest since they entered into the top flight. Secondly, their talisman had left them. So it meant that they had to look at how they were going to pick themselves up again and then avoid the drop. In come the trio of Mbeumo, Wissa, and then I think one German, Kevin Schade.
Yeah.
Mbeumo scores 20 goals. Wissa follows closely, scoring 19. And Schade was not far off. He scored 11 as well. So these are about 3 players scoring about 50 goals in the Premier League. In a team that sometimes has a total wage bill of, let's say, between 99 to 120 million pounds. So you look at the kind of work he's been doing in a lowly club like Brentford. Year after year, they sell some of their good players, some move on, but they are still able to be steady. And they do so not playing the shut-up shop kind of game. If they meet the big boys, ordinarily sometimes maybe they will switch into a 3-back and then play wing-backs and try to play on the break and all of that. But when they meet teams of their ilk, they're able to give them a good game. And even sometimes when they meet some of the big boys, I spoke about this spanking United for 4 in their second season and all of that. You see that unlike the likes of maybe Postecoglou or Amorim, who are neck deep in what they call their identities or their brand of football, Thomas Frank is quite fluid and flexible. I alluded to the fact that he's able to switch from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2 and all of that. Doing so with a very low-level club in terms of finances and all of that. And looking at his career trajectory, like I highlighted, from the Championship, where he took over, to his 3-4 seasons in the Premier League, I think he's done fairly well. And you don't hear a lot of bad press around him. So you would want to believe he's a good guy. For the modern game, the very tough coaches do not always have it easy, especially with the modern players who are a bit, for lack of a better word, spoilt and all of that, where you would have to be a very good manager. And I'm reading he's a teacher as well. So
yeah, yes.
He has the skill set and the emotional temperament and the flexibility and Premier League experience to be able to make that leap. Tottenham, I'm not expecting that they would want to win another trophy this season. What they would want to see is progress. The reason I'm sure Postecoglou was given the sack was that in about 22 seasons, that was their worst finish in the Premier League, losing about 22 games out of 30. That's terrible. They didn't think winning the Europa League was enough to paper over the cracks of a very bad campaign. Something United failed to do after Ten Hag covered all his terrible seasons with Mickey Mouse trophies.
An FA Cup against Pep Guardiola in the final is not exactly a Mickey Mouse trophy.
I know.
Yeah.
But no. He knows what I'm saying.
No, I do. But
so
yeah.
what Spurs wants to do with bringing Frank on board is to steady the ship, get them competing again in the Premier League, not to win it for sure. Something he's been able to do with Brighton. He's been consistent, even in the midst of the turbulent moments. He's been consistent. Where I am not so sure if he would excel is they having to play in the Champions League, because there isn't any track record of he excelling in Europe just yet.
Yeah.
And the fact that they would have to juggle between Europe and then the Premier League in his first season at Spurs is what I am not so sure about. But if we are talking about Premier League experience and all of that, I think he has all it takes.
But it's a big gamble, because you are asking a manager.
Life in itself is a gamble. And
I mean, yeah, but this is an odd of 100 to 1. Because this is a man who hasn't coached